Let's go ahead and get, we need to do that. Maybe we need to do the vote and then introductions. Okay,
And that can be like voice vote.
voice vote. All right, so since we don't have a quorum right now, I would like to take a vote on meeting as a committee of the whole on non-action items. So, those in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. So let's go ahead and get started with introductions. And we'll just go around the room. I'm Dana Trey with SCTA. On this way.
John Gaffney, ADA Compliance and Program Manager for the Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District.
Great. Chris Barney with SCTA.
Ross Clendett, SCTA.
Tama, Display Services Representative.
Stephen Schmitz with Sonoma County Transit.
Kathleen Cortez, Area Agency on Aging. Catherine Stokes, SCTA.
Drew Nichols, SCTA.
And then online, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Stacy Morales and I'm the Executive Director at Vintage House. We do provide transportation and I just moved from Stanislaus County and I used to run all the senior transportation for the county and paratransit eligibility. So I just wanted to learn more about your group and what's going on in Sonoma County.
Great, thank you for joining. All right, do we have any public comment on anything that's not on the agenda? All right, hearing none. So I believe that the next item is on the Brown Act requirements. I believe this is the same information we provided last time, although there is a second page, which is a table that reviews the options for participating in meetings remotely. So there's basically the traditional teleconferencing option where we would need advance notice of that request to participate remotely, and then you would need to we would need to include the address of where you're participating from on the agenda, and you would need to make your space where you're participating from publicly accessible and post a notice of the agenda on the door to that whatever that space is. So you know, it may work fine for an office location, but you know, not great if you need to participate from home. So and then there's two new options that came through AB 2449, and those are the just cause and emergency circumstances exemptions that do allow participating via video conferencing. The just cause is needs regarding childcare, caregiving, having an illness, travel for, you know, official business, and we would need or yeah, some other reason that you would not be able to attend. We would need notice ahead of the meeting, and for that, and could have a email to Drew justifying, you know, what your circumstance is, and why you need to participate remotely. And then there's emergency circumstances, which is an emergency comes up and you're not able to participate in person. And under that case, Drew would need to be notified ahead of the meeting, and the committee would need to take a vote on allowing that member to participate remotely. Both of those two options, the just cause and emergency circumstances, there's limits to how many times you can do it in a year. And so for this committee, it would be twice a year. And there's a requirement to keep your video on, if you're participating remotely. So does anybody have any questions? Yeah, there's also always the option to tune in and online and participate as a member of the public, as a non-voting member. So I am going to go ahead and skip over. Oh, I'm sorry. Item number 4 is just an informational item. This committee last met on January 17th as a committee of the whole, if there was not a quorum from that meeting either. And so the notes from that meeting are provided for information, but don't need any action. We will skip over the meeting notes from November 15th, which still need to be approved, and the officer elections, as well as the coordinated claim now. And we'll have a little presentation on updates to our transit integration project.
Okay, this is my first time sharing screen with a presentation through this system. Bear with me for one quick second.
All right, that's good. Thank you. All right, so I just want to provide some background on the transit integration project and an update on where we are. So I'll talk a bit about the overall transit integration work and the project, how it fits in with regional collaboration, and then talk a bit about 2 things that we have just started on or are just starting on, both the transit service plan and website integration. All right, so this is the high-level image of the transit network in Sonoma County, which you're all familiar with. And so this is some background on kind of a history of transit integration, specifically in Sonoma County. So in 2012, MTC completed the Transit Sustainability Project. And it included a recommendation for operators in Sonoma County to pursue functional and institutional consolidation. And in 2019, in collaboration with Sonoma County Transit, San Rosa City Bus, Petaluma Transit, and MTC, SCTA completed the Transit Integration and Efficiency Study. Purpose of the study was to identify actions that through collaboration among the 3 local operators would improve the rider experience, increase efficiency of delivering high quality transit service, and reduce operating and capital costs to enable improved service. In 2020 and 2021, in response to the pandemic related challenges for transit throughout the Bay Area, MTC created a Blue Ribbon Transit Task Force to recognize these critical challenges that we're facing public transit, to advance equity and identify actions to implement network management and governance reforms, and to advance transit initiatives that were being worked on and already, and integrate those reforms. In fall 2020, alongside those regional efforts to address pandemic-related challenges for transit, the SCTA convened the Future of Transit Ad Hoc Committee to prioritize recommendations that came out of the Transit Integration and Efficiency Study, and to collaborate to coordinate on the discussions that were happening through the Blue Ribbon Task Force. I'm gonna, can I go back? No. Okay, it's right. I will just talk through it. So the ad hoc identified two main goals, and that's it, increase transit ridership and simplify and enhance the transit customer experience. And both of those through unified branding. And in 2021, the MTC Blue Ribbon Transit Task Force granted SCTA some funding to further advance local transit integration. And that's work we've been doing. Here's just a quick snapshot of pre-pandemic local bus ridership in Sonoma County, providing over 3 million rides a year, which is of course dropped, but is inching back up. So the local transit integration project includes 4 main objectives, and that is integrated service planning for more efficient operations, integrated customer service to improve the customer experience, integrated fares and fare programs to support inter-operator travel, communication, and marketing, and integrated information and marketing to expand the reach and improve user experience. So here are some kind of high-level accomplishments so far. The operators have established a paratransit one-seat ride pilot program to reduce the need to transfer between operators and establish synchronized schedule change dates. Sonoma County Transit established a new customer service phone number that provides options to connect to any of the 3 transit agencies through that one number, and they've done cross-training for customer service staff between agencies. The operators have established common fare-free days and applied for and were awarded grant funding to fund a fare-free youth program, and are all participating in the Clipper Start reduced fare program. And finally, we have kicked off the integrated transit service planning study with consultant support from Nelson Nygaard. And I think I've shared this slide here before, but this is just a high-level scope of work of that integrated transit service plan. We are deep in task 2 right now, and working on data collection and doing a ridership analysis that will feed into a market analysis, and will which will include that data as well as a public survey and engagement. Would be an analysis on the overlapping service areas, as well as paratransit service, and then a regional service analysis, kind of looking at travel throughout the county and both the local and regional operators. There will be an analysis of microtransit kind of propensity in areas of Sonoma County, and then developing a report of the findings. So this work we've been doing ties in with regional collaboration led by MTC on mapping and wayfinding. And this regional project includes developing a regional transit brand to connect and complement the existing transit brands, establishing unified standards for transit wayfinding region-wide. And because of the work that we've been doing since 2019, Sonoma County was selected as one of the sub-regional pilots to test these standards. And so, and that would be in preparation for a later phase that would include full implementation throughout the region. So this pilot will create a consistent and user-focused transit information at touch points throughout Sonoma County. And will rebrand and include rebranding of the transit services. So the work that we're doing right now locally, we're going to prepare for this pilot. So another thing that we're just getting ready to get started on is website integration. And here are just the kind of main customer service related topics that we're working on or will be working on. As I mentioned before, a single phone line was established for customer service. We are in the process of hiring a web designer to do website design and integration, and then future customer service tasks include integrated bus stop signage and real-time signage, and then consistent policies and procedures for information and interaction. So in terms of the website integration, this is the current branding of the 3 transit operators. Sonoma County Transit and Petaluma Transit are both on the same website platform called Trillium, and but have different looks and feels, and things are located in different places on the website. So the first step is going to be to I'm actually going to get to that later in the slide, so just stop here. So this is a concept of what it could look like. This is an example where 3 different transit operators, independent transit operators, wanted to design and have a single landing page, and then that landing page can take you to the different operators' websites, but they all have the same look and feel and interact with each other. So in terms of the website integration, what we're getting ready to work on now would start with a design review and mock-ups for unified a look and feel for Sonoma County Transit and Petaluma Transit websites. And then development of a new website for Santa Rosa City Bus on the Trillium platform with that consistent design. And so we're working on a contract right now with Trillium to do those first 2 tasks. And then that will set us up in the future to implement that unified design on Sonoma County Transit and Petaluma Transit websites, and then develop a single landing page for all 3 websites. So that's my update. Happy to answer any questions anybody might have. Like a big job. It is. It's an exciting one though.
Yeah. So I just curious about the timeline for the different tasks of the integration.
Yeah, so you know, we have a lot of tasks, and we don't have a yeah, I think we're looking at 24-25 for that pilot, fiscal year 24-25 for that the mapping and wayfinding pilot through the region, but they haven't given us an exact launch date yet. So there's a number of things that need to happen at the regional level before actually implementing that branding, and a number of things that we're working on at the sub-regional level as well. So, you know, I mean, in an ideal world, it will line up perfectly. We may get through the tasks that we're working on in Sonoma County before that pilot's ready. But yeah, definitely pushing to make it all happen before that pilot is ready. And I think we're on track to do that. So this planning service study and website design are kind of two of the big pieces, and will be wrapped up by the end of the year. All right, anything else? Well, that brings us to roundtable updates. John, do you want to kick it off?
A lot to report since last meeting. Give various statistics. Bridge is at about 80% of pre-pandemic as far as ridership across the bridge. However, it's shifted quite a bit. We're looking more at busier weekends, less busy weekdays as people continue to work from home. Our bus is at about 40% of pre-pandemic, and our ferry is somewhere between 30 and 40%. So slow returns on those. Paratransit is seeing about a 75% return. But that is mainly on the local side for the Marin local, not so much the regional service. I think that's all I have to add right now.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. All right, Stephen.
So we just had a schedule change that we implemented on the 12th. And it was relatively minor, although we did totally revamp our Route 20, which provides service to West County from Santa Rosa out to Sebastopol and out to the river area. So we were having some on-time performance issues with that. And so we buttoned up that route, and hopefully I've seen some improvements with on-time performance. The only other thing I have to report, which you all may already know, is that we have an order of 10 40-foot battery electric buses on order through Proterra that are anticipated for delivery next summer, 2024. And so those are our first 40-footers. We have several BYD buses that we currently have 3, and we have 6 more on order, but these will be the first of the 40-footers. And they're hopefully anticipated to get up to 300 miles on a charge. So that's pretty good. And so we're going to probably deploy them on our 101 routes, the ones that kind of have the 101 corridor. And we're working vigorously on getting our bus yard charging systems up to speed to accommodate the buses by next summer. That's also a big process and a lot of money. So we're busy.
Thanks. And then mobility partner reports. Kathleen, do you want to start off?
Sure. So we've done a little reorganizing a little bit in adult and aging because we have grown with the population in the county. So we have a new section that Area Agency on Aging is part of. It's called Community Administrative Services. And that brings together, I have a colleague who's an analyst who's working on our ADRH with Collins organization DSLC. So that's Aging and Disability Services Hub. And then there's another analyst in our division that's working on a local master plan for aging, sort of bringing together a local steering committee to look at some of the goals in the state master plan for aging. And then myself, who works with the Area Agency on Aging and our Older Americans Act and ARPA programs. And a theme in all of these is transportation, of course, because it's a big deal and it's a big need in our county. So as an adult and aging sort of community services section, we really want to focus more on transportation and see how we can collaborate and coordinate on some of the unmet needs. We also have our survey and our focus groups that are sort of concluding. We've had about 1,200 survey responses returned so far. And we had over 150 people at our focus groups. So we have transportation, of course, rising to the top in all of our focus groups. Various things like, being able to walk to a bus stop, being able to rest on a bench, and then the access out of county, and then the unmet needs in the rural areas. So a lot of different themes in transportation, but transportation is still rising to the top of what are the needs in our needs assessment. So we hope to have the focus groups and everything wrapped up end of April. We sort of extended it another month. So we'll let you know once we have all the results in. Yeah.
Okay. Interested to hear them, to take a look at those results. All right, Colin, do you have any updates?
So with, the mentioned, this DFCC is working on expanding our ADLH program and expanding the no one go programs. That way, if you have a consumer that needs services, whether from us or from one of the other ADLH partners, they get connected to that service. We're also going to be putting our Tech Expo event in May 19th. We've held in the past before COVID. It's since 2019. And I've sent out email invites to transit partners. But if you guys should please get back to us. It's $35 charge nonprofit for a table, $100 and regular for regular companies. And there's optional sponsorship as well. And that's all we have.
And where is that?
It'd be the fairgrounds at the Grace Pavilion.
Great, thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is future agenda topics. We have a couple things listed that were requested, including a model TNC partnership program and discussion on the state master plan for aging. Kathleen, is that state master plan for aging something you're currently involved in? And
I'm not, but our agency is.
Your agency is,
Yeah, I have
yeah.
a colleague who's working on that. The goals, she can probably do an overview or
yeah,
presentation, or I can get some more information on what they're doing.
okay,
And I was contacted, I don't know if anybody else, but Napa Valley Transit Authority has hired a consultant. I've received 2 calls from 2 different consultants regarding, I guess they're looking at an ADRH or ADRC for Napa Valley, and they're looking at programs that can support their aging and disability clientele. And some of the questions they were looking at our Sonoma Senior Access website, wanting to do something similar. And then just looking at some of the different volunteer driver programs and DASH, which is a transit occupancy tax funded program that services seniors. So I don't know what they're doing or if they've contacted anybody else, but I feel like I've heard from Napa, Solano, Lake, and Mendocino that they're all applying to have aging and disability resource connections, which is another stream of funding for aging services and disability services for each county. And transportation, of course, is a big need in the aging and disability community. So I think there's a lot of work going on in our region, just looking at our grain state. But yeah, so maybe, something along those themes is, just looking at other programs. One of the things that the Napa Valley Transit told me was that they have, very interesting, but they loan their paratransit buses out to nonprofit agencies. So if a nonprofit wanted to do a field trip, or they had a group of older disabled people that they needed to bring somewhere, that they can rent their paratransit buses out. I thought that was unique. I'd never heard anything like that before, but interesting.
all right, okay. But yeah, if your colleagues who's working on the state master plan for aging has a sense of when would be a good timing to talk about that with us, that'd be great to know. And then we will need to bring back the action items at a future meeting as well. For those of you who don't know, Dennis Battenberg has been chair since this committee started, and is stepping down this year, but we do elections each year, so. We will need to elect a chair and vice chair of this committee, and bring the coordinated claim back, to this committee as well. So. Any other ideas or topics on anybody's mind for future agendas?
No, I would just say that now that we're doing public meetings, to maybe, reach out. I know everyone's always short staffed, but maybe like, between Colin and I, we just contacts with others, service organizations or nonprofits to maybe bring people to the table. There's a lot of staff turnover at some of the senior centers and organizations that I work with, so that could be the message got lost, or maybe people don't know about it. So maybe bringing in, we're just doing a generic call for, people who want to serve on the committee or attend the meetings. I would recommend that.
Thank you. Yeah, if you can help out in that way, that would be helpful. Because I look for automatic responses from this email box is no longer being monitored or something.
Yeah.
And any all the committee members here, I haven't seen any of those, so I'm not sure how it's going. But I also know sometimes my emails do get sent to spam because they're viewed as marketing. So I wonder if that's another thing too. But I know Ross has been doing a lot of outreach too.
Yeah, and I think there is, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but there may be some admin code updates in some of our other committees this year, just in terms of looking at which organizations are included. And I'm not quite sure how that would affect this committee, but there could be some new opportunities if there's organizations that should have a seat at the table.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we're, there's agent or organizations that are identified under some of the different target areas for this committee. But some of those are vacant, and this committee always has the ability to add more than one organization representative from different categories, so we're not limited. It's more a matter of getting interest in people to show up, so yeah. All right, any other business announcements? All right, then we'll adjourn. Thank you all. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
See this setup. Or pretty well.